Thank you again. Yeah, one of the things that we spend a lot of time thinking about at the university is not just concept development, but the value proposition that goes along with it. And I can put that in context of faculty that we work with. And I think that I would say that our faculty are as good or better than any faculty matched up against any university in the country. But at the same time, one of the things that we have to instill within the faculty is a sense that in order to be competitive within this market, particularly now, you have to have a creative and a unique idea. It's not enough simply to repurpose your research as you may have envisioned it. It's a matter of marketing that research to a particular agency and ensuring that you meet the goals, objectives, priorities of that agency. It may be in addition to that, thinking about it from the standpoint that perhaps there's some deliverable that you're offering that is synergistic, that makes the result bigger than the proposal itself. So perhaps, Mike, from your perspective, how would you view that concept, both of development and value proposition?
You know, it is always important to start thinking about the value proposition early and often. And when you think about value proposition, you know, there should be 4 things that you're thinking about right up front. First is, what is the problem that I'm solving? So who has that problem? So that would be your potential customer. Thinking about how your technology is a potential solution to their problem. And then lastly, how is that technology better than anything else that's on the marketplace? So who's your leading competitor and how's it better? And you know, as you're thinking about those things, those are really the foundation for your business case and what you're going to use to really build your fundraising strategy. And it's essential that you know those components before you go out trying to raise capital.
Sharon, what about from corporate and foundational relations?
Well, when I talk about receiving draft proposals from faculty, it is a little bit of a different world when you're going to a corporation or a foundation. So our faculty have wonderful project ideas, but they're after things that will help them advance their research and advance their project ideas. But one of the things you have to turn around and do when you're approaching a corporation or foundation is they are not going to fund something that you want to do. Okay, they're going to fund something that you're doing that is going to help them reach their mission and goals. And it's a very common thing for me to get a proposal to cross my desk where the faculty is very eloquent about what it is they want to do. But it's all about how it's going to help East Carolina University or how it's going to help their research portfolio or how it's going to help them. And what we have to do in our office is turn that around and say, okay, this corporation or foundation you're going to approach, how is it that what you're doing is going to help them? And it's a tweak and it's a different way of looking at things. So we have something where we will sit down with faculty and coach them because companies are going to fund the things they care about. And we spend a lot of time on making that fit of your project with the particular funder.
Makes great sense. Rob?
Sure. Thank you, Ernie. Certainly would agree with everything said by Sharon and Mike so far. You know, note that in this rubric of how to position your research, nowhere was it mentioned the bright, shiny object, really ultra cool aspect of your research and your science. You as faculty know, competing for grants, that the most competitive grant really doesn't shine a light solely on the technology. It also suggests tractable applications of that technology. As you and there's a peer review aspect there as you start marching through other early commercialization programs. Mike may speak on the federal SBIR grants, certainly for biotech center funding. usually where the federal government or ourselves or similar funding groups jump in is kind of vetting that pre-commercialization potential and helping sift and see if a project, a technology, and innovation is likely to have legs there. The Biotech Center years ago got out of funding basic science, and so we're jumping in at a point trying to help develop traction towards a solution for very specific problems. That's news to a lot of academic researchers, and I would say our business group, 2/3 of the loans they've made historically have been to university spin-outs, so pretty familiar with that dynamic. These are situations where the science has been peer-reviewed over and over again, but the commercial prospects for technologies emanating from that science may never have been pressure tested beyond just a hypothetical guess at an application. That simply doesn't cut it anymore. That's going to be demanded by any funding agency, any strategic partner, any investor. I think Sharon made a great point. You really have to understand what drives your different partners, whether it's collaborators, whether it's grant funders, loan funders, angel or venture capital. Everybody, corporate and foundations in particular, they have an agenda. They're measured on something. And you may or may not overlap with them for some period of the evolution of your technology. It won't be forever, but you want to synergize for a period of time, but you really have to understand how they're measured and what drives them, what gets them up out of bed and position yourself as a fit there.
So I think what I'm hearing is a reliance or to make certain that you're in a close match between the agency priorities and goals, and that's an important component of ensuring that you have the most competitive type proposal to move forward. But I'd like to